kung wala
sinalin
nang
sa blankong papel sa
pagtutulungan.
kanyang mesa. Isang istorya,
Sa tuluyan mong pag-isa, ako ay
isang
may tanging
istorya ng isang bilanggo ng
Huwag ka na
pandemya.
sanang lumingon ng
Animoy,
tumingin.
ang mundo'y
Dahil
nagmistulang
baka hindi
kulungan
ko
na puno ng
mapigilan ang
kadena.
sigaw ng aking damdamin.
Malaya nga ba
Pag lumingon kay
o mahaba lang ang
pagpagdalangin
pagdalangin?
ka na bali.
Okay. Na-cut ko siya. But anyways, hello everyone. Hello there on Kumu. Hello Pamilya Saranggola. Hi Yuki, hi Chris. And for those who I missed mentioning, hello everyone. Please do share the stream. Thank you very much. And of course, hello there on Facebook. It's another Saturday, life is still beautiful in spite and despite of everything that is happening. We always look forward into something. And for me personally, kahit na kanina I'm very busy and we pray together as a family for my father. He died 2 years ago, no. So Saturday lang talaga nagkaroon kami ng chance na makumpleto. So my Saturday morning is really from the moment I wake up before I put on my makeup, I save a little pray for you. So may kumanta. Hi naman dyan, Chard Amazona sa Facebook. Hello, Chard. How are you? Anyways, guys, alam nyo, parang sunod-sunod na Saturday, I'm always excited kasi this is one thing that I am thankful for sa technology. Hello there, Shino, there on Kumu. Why? Kasi, parang ngayon, parang the irony of life na parang we cannot really get into closer to the people that we love or people that that are close to our hearts. Hindi natin sila mahug, mayapos, makita, the usual thing that we do. This is the new normal, but technology somehow bridge us together. And I am so glad na with the technology, ang dami kong nakikilalang mga tao and nakakausap, no, napapagbigyan tayo. And I know our guest for this afternoon, for this Saturday. So good evening pala, no? Good evening sa inyo dito, afternoon pa lang. But alam kong napaka-busy din na tao. Pero nung alam mo yun, nag-try lang ako, malay mo, umuo siya. At talagang, di ba, God is so good na talagang binulungan siya ng angels. Sige na, pagbigyan mo na itong taong to. So, fangirl po ako every Saturday. So, I'm fan of this person na na-invite ko rin. Thank you for sharing, Shino. Hello there on Kumu. Hello everyone. Thank you for the 13,000 viewers. Keep sharing the stream, guys. Okay lang yan. Sige, keep sharing. Hindi sasama ang loob ko. Charot, joke lang. But no, keep sharing. Thank you. Hi, Kent Marvin. Hi, Mami Moto Yuki. Thank you. Okay, so there we go. Papakilala, alam mo, kilala nyo na tong taong to. I'm sure. Pero, alam nyo yun, syempre, kailangan ipakilala natin siya ng maayos. Okay. So, sino ba tong guest natin for this afternoon? She is the contributing editor-writer at ABS-CBN Integrated News and Current Affairs. Former country head at Charge Org. Ito yung the world's largest petition platform, guys. Former head ng Bayan Mo Ipatrol Mo at ABS-CBN. Former editor-in-chief at the Philippine Graphic Publications Incorporated, Cook Magazine. Former executive editor of the Manila Times. She became chairwoman of the National Union of the Journalists of the Philippines. In 2007, she won the country's top prize for investigative journalism. And in 2018, Reporters Without Borders, or RSF, Prize for Independence at the 2018 Press Freedom Awards held in London, United Kingdom. She's also a recipient of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, fangirl na naman ako, pagbigyan niyo na po ako. Please help me welcome none other than Miss Inday Espina, Varona. Okay. Hello there. Hello there, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
Yes. Now we can hear you good.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me see. Magandang gabi, magandang hapon, magandang umaga. Depende kung saan kayo sa mundo. And
Ayun.
thank you for inviting me.
I thank you, Mom Inday. So, it's our pleasure no to be with you right now. Medyo nag-aano lang yung internet, Ma'am. Parang medyo how do you call this? Medyo nawawala-wala. Yeah.
Oo nga eh. Sakit talaga namin dito yan. Teka.
Kanina po sa
Kasi
backstage, ang ganda
kinakabahan ako. Ano yan? Ano yan?
Sabi ko kanina po sa Tekron natin, ang ganda-ganda ng signal natin pareho.
Oo nga eh. Tataka nga ako eh.
Ayan. Hello,
Okay.
Kate. Yes,
Sige.
ma'am.
So, anong pag-usap natin?
Ayan, yes ma'am. So, hello po muna
Yan.
sa lahat ng nanonood. Chinchin Laroya, Chard Amazon, si Mick. Ayan, hello Mick, they're on Facebook. And hello there, Chris on Kumu and all those watching on Kumu and Shino. Hi there. Ayan, mama no. Ayan, sabi ni Chard Amazon, Ma'am Inday, I miss you. Sabi ni Chard Amazon.
Hi, Chad.
Eh, this is very exciting Saturday, Ma'am Inday, kasi um sa Kumu po kasi when I started on Kumu, sa dami ng mga artists na nandoon, talagang singing and all, yung mga different kinds of talents talaga nasa Kumu. Pero parang
Oo.
I took this parang less parang hindi naman less taken road, pero sabihin na natin hindi siya talaga masyadong pinupuntahan sa Kumu na mga streams. So, with that, continue ko lang siya. And madami through the months of streaming, madami talagang na-indulge into poetry, lalo na po nung nag-pandemic. Pero nung nag-season 2, naisip ko, why not take it
Okay.
to a different level? Parang connect natin ang poetry into something na hindi usual na hugutan lang. Diba? I-connect natin into something na medyo ipakita natin that even those who are, the strongest and ibang talagang mga matatapang na tao also have a spot for this. Yeah. So,
But don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with yoga. I mean, hey, what is life? Alam naman
I
natin lahat yan, di ba?
yes, yes, yes. So, yun na nga po. So, parang ako, doon ako na, to be honest, grabe. Hi, Jethro, fangirl talaga ako. Kanina okay na okay kami sa backstage ni Ma'am Inday. Ngayon bigla ako nag-stammer, no? Hindi. Bigla ako na at sa harapan ni Ma'am Inday. Sa harapan nyo, kanina okay kami. Siguro dapat nasa backstage na lang kami ni Ma'am Inday nagkwentuhan. Hi, Albert. But hindi, Ma'am.
Oo nga.
Being a daughter of a journalist talaga, of a writer, um, is writing really, just came so easy sa inyo when you started writing?
Writing, well, let's put it this way. Writing is what I do best. And I've always written, even as a child. No? So, that's because my dad was a journalist. My grand aunt was a writer, both a journalist and a novelist and poet in Cebuano, in Visayan. So my great grand uncles, all that stuff. So medyo natural sa akin yan. Depende sa sinusulat. No? I've always written in prose. I've always been a journalist, which means kung the most literary I probably get is usually narrative, creative nonfiction, which is longer, more literary, but still nonfiction journalistic pieces. I've written a few short stories. I don't think I should bother showing them to the world. I'm not even happy with that. So, and a very few points. Yeah.
Okay. So, parang, with that, parang having said that, ibig sabihin talagang there's a very close connection din, no, with poetry, in writing poetry, and into journalism. Kasi it's the same thing. We write, right? Diba? Yung bang, we use words, 'di ba, to express. We use, it's the same, parang kumbaga, parang it's on the same tree. Magkaiba lang siguro ng branch, 'di ba? Magkaiba lang ng branches siya. Pero well, that is one thing that is very, very common, no? Something that is obviously there, no? And we tell stories. In poetry, we tell stories. In journalism, it's the same thing. Yung sinabi nyo nga po kanina, the here and now, 'di ba? So
Yeah,
it's
we're all storytellers. Whether you're writing um, an editorial, a blog, a column, a narrative, creative nonfiction, or narrative journalism, as we call it, or if you're writing poetry, it's all about expression. And bakit ba nag-e-express yung mga tao? Kasi gusto nilang mag-connect from what they experience, or at least what we see, to what we call that universal, no?
mhm,
The universal link that everyone, man, woman, whatever color, um, nakaka, nakakaunawa, no? Parang telenovela lang yan eh. Bakit ba hindi tayo magsawa-sawa sa telenovela? Kasi kahit paano pa, magkaiba man yan, whether parang fairy tale siya, within even the stages of stories, within it reflected,
mhm.
no? Parang nakikita natin na nagre-reflect ang buhay ng lahat. Ano ba? And that's the same thing yan.
Yes, yes. Ma'am, kasi sa poetry, we have, yung cadence of writing, way of writing, di ba? We have yung rhythm, we have tempo, we have, yung we have pause, di ba, in poetry. Ano yung,
Oh,
in journalism, how can we relate that in journalism?
well, kasi yung journalism ko by nature is probably, ang sabi sa akin, a little bit more literal in the sense na yung boses ko, what you see when I write is more melodic probably than um, other writers. Ibang tono yan eh. Iba-ibang boses ang bawat manunulat. So even as a journalist, apparently may your poetry, the lead that I write, is it's a little bit like journalism, and your journalism sounds a little bit like poetry at times, which I think has to do with formal structure because I did not study anything about poetry, but more to do with what is the music in a voice. Because as myself, as a reader, ang nahanap ko yun eh.
Mhm,
When I see something and then yung may inner ear ako na pag may nakita ko ng words, for some reason, I will be drawn to it and I will try to read it aloud. And
mhm,
yun din naman ang ina-advise namin sa mga writers and even myself. I know when something I've written is good because I read it aloud and I can hear the music. It's not always sweet music. It can be angry music, sad music, but it's always a melody. May tono lagi. And
mhm.
and fluid dapat ang tono na yan.
Ayun. Sayang 'no, minsan I can understand you fully. Kaya lang minsan nag-aano siya, Ma'am Inday, yung signal natin siguro nagkakaroon ng problema. You were saying great things talaga. Siguro sa internet? Can you hear us
Teka,
well? Ay, can you hear me well?
pwedeng, can I, teka, lalabas ako saglit,
Okay,
connect
okay.
on something else, and then let's see what happens.
Okay, sige,
Ano
sige,
na
sige,
ako,
sige.
sige, okay.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so while we wait for Ma'am Inday, ayan, hello muna everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Uh, Hello there on Kumu. Hello there. Mommy B. Hello there. Mommy B. Ayan. Hello there. The 12,000 viewers from Kumu. Hello, Janet. Dyan din sa ating nasa Facebook. So, this is, no. Guys, if you have any question for Ma'am Inday, please feel free to write your question. So, babasahin natin yan mamaya. Anything that you wanted to tell her. Okay, mag-restart lang siya. Kanina ang ganda ng namin, ang ganda ng tech run namin kanina. But anyway, so yun yung gusto nating i-relate. Kasi 'di ba, pag sa Kumu aminin natin 'yan. Yung mga manunulat, yung mga makata sa Kumu, 'di ba? Puro hugot 'yan. Puro alam mo 'yun, nagdudugong puso ang ating mga piyesa. Kaya dito gusto nating i-relate somehow, 'di ba? Kung paano, doon na-explain, no? Kahit sila, kahit yung mga manunulat, kahit ang journalist, no? Kagaya ni Ma'am Inday, sabi nga niya, explanation niya kanina. Pag nagsulat siya at pag binasa niya, you can still hear, no? Yung the rhythm, the tempo, maybe, yung parang, as her words nga, di ba? The music, on how you read it. So, it's the same thing, eh. So, yun yung wonder, yun yung gusto ko talagang ma-indulge natin into it. But the point is, kagaya mo, Chris, si Chris Akumo, na kilalang-kilala, na talagang businessman, di ba? Chris, baka naman, di ba? There would come a time you will also write a poem or two, di ba? Pero, naririnig mo ba ako? Andiyan ka pa ba, Chris? Di ba? So, we have it in us. Siguro, tawa ka dyan. Di ba? We have it in us. Si Mommy B, alam ko may 3 piyesa na si Bianca Lapus. Simula na nag-guest siya sa Yumi and Our Poetry. Nakapagsulat siya ng 3 piyesa. Mommy B, get well soon and I hope one day ikaw ang aakyat dito. Sabi ni Chris, gusto mo ba? Sure ka? Depende, Chris. Sabi ka doon. No, hindi. Ang nakakatakot kay Chris, no? Ano nga kaya? Ano nga kaya isusulat ni Chris? But anyways, mamaya may itatanong ako kay Ma'am Inday and it will be a question for everybody actually. Gusto ko maisip nyo rin. So, abangan nyo yung question na yon kay Ma'am Inday. Kasi nung, to be honest, talaga nagbasa ako, ano ang relation ng poetry and journalism. And madami akong nakitang views. Though kanina, sa backstage, sabi din ni Ma'am Inday, madami ding journalist ang into poetry. Kaya lang more on prose, more on narrative. Iba yung way nila of express. But still, di ba? Hi, Sheena there on Facebook. But still, one thing is for sure, no? Parang writing, ubo-ubong sabi ng mga lobo, Chris. One thing is for sure, no? Once you are into writing into whatever field, like journalism or writing a book, writing a story, it would be easier, I believe, it would be easier to compose a poem or two. So kasi, andun ka na into writing. So while waiting for Ma'am Inday, yun nga, dinidiscuss namin yung, ni-establish namin yung commonalities. What are the things that are, common in writing into whatever field you are in? Kaya, wag nating yung, ay naku, pang high school lang yan. Hindi. Hindi natatapos sa high school ang ating pagsusulat. So, thank you for those who are sharing pala. There are people who are sharing the stream. Thank you very much. Ayan. Thank you. Ayan. So, ayan. Tinignan natin ang ating mga nasa stream. Ayan. Hello there, si Chard. Chard, kwento mo naman. Bakit kayo magkakilala ni Ma'am Inday? Oh. Chika mo naman, Jern. Diba? Ayan. Kaya, ayan. So, back to, meron akong na-X. But anyways, ayan. Puro ayan ang sinasabi ko, no? While waiting for her, kasi chinek ko muna yung mga messages. If you have questions for her, or if you have, something to share mamaya. Yeah. So, nagre-restart lang for sure. Next start. Okay, she's back. Nandito na ulit kami. Yes! Welcome
Okay.
back!
I had
Okay.
to restart. I'm sorry. I just decided to restart para mas maayos tayo.
Ayan. Okay. Okay na siya ngayon, Mami Day.
Okay.
So, as we were discussing kanina, no, as we were talking about, sabi mo nga, pag nagsulat ka din, parang meron din siyang, parang the tempo is there also. 'Di ba? Meron din siyang, yes, please continue.
Oo. Oops.
Yes. We can hear you well. We can hear
Okay.
you.
Kasi parang mas natural kasi sa akin. Parang I usually write a little bit the way I sound or I think I sound in my mind. Sometimes bulol ako in person, but we all think of ourselves as someone else in our mind. And the way I write is the way I probably have these imaginary conversations in my mind. Um, as many of us writers probably know, we're more fluent.
Mhm.
Nauuna yung isip natin kesa bibig natin. Ganon. I
Yes.
can stumble talking, but like my brain, my thoughts go fast. So ganon.
Yes, yes. Parang meron ako nabasa, as I mentioned kanina, Maminday, no? Meron ako nabasa, poet journalist siya, si Archibald MacLeish. Sabi niya,
Okay.
what matters is the truth of the feeling and the feel of the truth. Between,
That's,
yes, ma'am.
totoo yan. Kasi especially kung poetry, no? Not always sa journalism because sometimes we're even told that we shouldn't feel too much, no? But especially sa poetry, kung hindi mo man lang, ganito yun kung hindi ko nararamdaman ang isang bagay, why should I expect other people to feel me? No? Kung hindi ako naniniwala sa sinusulat ko,
Mhm.
paano ko mapapaniwala yung ibang tao? So doon nagsisimula sa'yo mismo. Saan ang galing lahat, di ba? Sa puso mo yan lahat ng galing Andyan yung utak. Pero we can admire, we can respect. That's the brain.
Mhm.
But to love, to be able to follow a person to hell and back, that's always the heart. So doon talaga nagsisimula yan.
So, ngayon, nung una, no, Maminday, nung una parang nahihirapan ako. Oo nga, no, kasi, for example, yung strength mo, diba? Yung courage mo, yung firmness mo, yung principled mo, no? Those are the things that I admire sa'yo. And yung inisip ko siya, parang kung iisipin mo, ang poetry kasi more on feelings, diba? More on, parang, uh, posible kaya? Kaya nag-try ako kausapin ka. And nung nalaman ko na, meron ka din ang naisulat, parang, sabi ni, no? Sabi ni, meron at meron pa rin. And as you said nga, importante pa rin, no? What's on the heart, and what you believe, no? Yung pinaniniwalaan mo, yung sinusulat mo. And,
Totoo yan Kasi, di ba, kanta, no? Kung makikinig, Bridge Over Troubled Water ni Paul Simon. Basahin mo, alam natin ang kantang yan napakaganda.
yes.
Pero basahin mo yung kantang yan. That's a poem. No? So ano yung poetry? It's what we call distillation Yung pwede akong magsulat ng 2,000 or 1,000 words or 800 words na isang matapang na galit na editorial. But there are some times when the anger is such that you feel that 1,000 words won't mean anything. And yet, a short, yung distillation, yung, you take away ang tinatawag natin, yung poetry, kinukuha mo yung lahat ng, ng other surface matter and dive deep, deep, deep. dun sa esensya ng nararamdaman mo dahil sa isang bagay. And that's poetry. And ako, maiksi yung poetry. Wala akong mahabang poetry.
No, it doesn't matter, di ba? It doesn't matter. Haiku nga, Ma'am Inday, di ba? 3 lines lang yan. Pero,
Oo.
di ba? Wala yun sa
Oo.
haba. Kahit ako, nung may mga dumadaan po na mga kabataan noon na nag-start pa rin lang into poetry, lagi ko sinasabi, hindi importante na mahaba. Kasi minsan pag mahaba nga, mas nawawala ka pa sa flow eh. Di ba?
Oo.
Di ba? Mas okay
Kahit
pa
naman,
yung,
kahit sa storya lang eh, kahit sa journalism eh, pagpahabaan na yan, it's always harder to write editorial. It's always harder to write a 600 to 800 word editorial than it is to write 1,200. Kasi 1,200, unang ano mo yan eh. And then you distill and distill to make it sharpest. And then you try to come to 600. So ganun talaga yun. Oo.
yes. Parang pag nasala mo na siya, nandun na yung parang pinaka-meat eh. And the readers would sometimes would crave for more. Parang,
Oo.
what's next? Di ba? What's next? What would happen next? Ito yung nakakatuwa, guys, no? Everyone on Kumu and on Facebook. Kanina tinanong ko si Ma'am Inday kasi meron siyang naisulat na, na, na tula. Nung tinanong ko siya, Ma'am Inday, saan mo hinugot? Saan mo hinugot yung tula na yun? Nakakatawa yung sagot ni Ma'am Inday. Can you tell them? Kailan ka nakakasulat ng tula?
Nakakasulat lang ako ng tula pag galit ako.
O, di ba? This is
But not
entirely
always,
different.
but most of the time, the ones that remain with me are are poems that I wrote when I think I was really outraged. Yung cold rage, yung hindi ka nagmumura, yung nakatingin ka and yung
Pero
gano'n na. Oo.
nagkukuyumos. Tama ba yun? Nagkukuyumos
Tama yan,
ang kalooban.
nagpupuyos. Oo,
Nagpupuyos ang kalooban.
Nagpupuyos ang kalooban yun. Oo.
And, ayun, without Ma'am Inday, alam kong excited na rin silang marinig yung piyesa mo. Yung naisulat mong tula. Okay, so.
Sige. Sinulat ko, I think, it's probably not the first, but one of the few poems that I sent in to friends because yung Ampatuan Massacre, siguro alam na natin, yung Maguindanao Massacre kung saan napakaraming journalists, it's around the world, it's the single most horrific attack on journalists. No? Sa buong mundo, record yan, hindi pa nawawala yung record niya yan. Si Joel Salud, ngayong my dear friend who is also a journalist and more literary than I am, nag-decide na gawa tayo. Lahat naman kami gumagawa na ng storya, ng editorial. Pero parang kulang eh. Sabi niya, gawa tayo poetry. So tawag niya doon Anthology of Rage. At kahit sino, it didn't matter really who. Basta nag-send out, sinong gustong magpadala, padala, ganun. and I wrote down and I sat down and I think I wrote it down in less than 15 minutes. It just went there. And
Slowly.
should I read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. It says behind the backhoe. I think So it talks about, this is really about itong tug and pull of journalism, yung it's our job. Are we observers or are we citizens who also feel? We're both. No? So ito. This is about how, makikita mo dito yung lifestyle rin ng journalist. No? So, we wash down fears in brew amid neon's glare and now clamped teeth on trembling lips as fingers press black knobs that pace the rush of images of flesh and bones and teeth and hair framed by clumps of earth. Craft flies, deserts us, absconds. In this moment of illogic, when the mind shirks from its normal quest for answers, dreading the cackle of bloodlust that awaits the intrepid who dare peek behind the backhoe. Yun ang, that's 2468. That's what I wrote sa,
I mean, just listening to the words that you've written, Aminday. Alam mo yung, when you said yung black knob, is it yung ginamit? Yung,
yeah, di ba? Oo.
yes.
Sige. Okay. So yun, oo. As fingers press. So let's break it down, no?
Yes, yes, yes.
So we wash down fears in brew. That's what we journalists do. I mean, hindi ako manginginom. Usually, buong gabi, isang ganun lang mainom ko niyan. Pero I can sit with journalists or drinkers hanggang umaga. Especially when things are really bad, you just gather around, makahinga lang kayo, no? So, we wash down fears in brew, pwedeng alcohol, pwedeng kape. Ako, kape, no? Amid neon's glare and now clamped teeth on trembling lips. Nagpapamacho lahat. Babae, lalaki. Trabaho ng journalist, no? Ayaw namin humarap na parang takot. Pero sabi nga, I think I will quote Ed Lingao here, kung hindi ka takot, may problema ka. No? Ang isang journalist na hindi natatakot, malaking problema natin dyan. No? So yan, so takot. Oo. As fingers press plus black knobs, no? Titingnan, nakuha natin, no? That pace the rush of images. O either pagkatapos sa gabi or sa trabaho. Pabilisan. Sa gabi, isa-isa. Pinipili mo, pinabalikan mo. Yung nakita ba ng mata ko, ito nga ba talaga ang na-record ko? Sometimes we can't believe it eh. Then we have to go back. And sometimes what we capture is even worse than what we thought we saw. Mabilis eh, sa mata. But
Yes.
once it's captured, Rafi Lerma and Ezra, no, Akayan, those two journalists, just as much, and other great photo journalists. Akala namin ganun eh, nakikita natin, but nakikita ng mata. But so many things are happening fast-paced in any big event. No? It is after, when you look, when you start pressing back to see the images, makikita mo, there's one that stands out that's even more horrific or even more beautiful or even more touching than how you felt during the event itself. So the rush of images of flesh and bones and teeth, these are normal. Pero yung of flesh and bones and teeth and hair framed by clumps of earth. Kasi, di ba, they were buried. Nakita, ginanon sila. And this is where you go craft flies. That this is the moment where that every journalist or photojournalist has found himself or herself when when all the training, and we will always fall back on the training and we will do what we have to do in the tightest of deadline kahit na nagliliparan ang bala, but after there are moments when it all disappears, it flies, it deserts us because kahit na nakita na namin, narinig na namin, even if we touch, there are some things na parang hindi ka makapaniwala that this really happened, and parang hindi mo ma-plump, hindi mo maarok kung bakit nangyari yan, and the mind shrinks. Di ba tayo pala, bakit? But there are times when like, break muna. To keep our sanity, break muna. Even if just for 1 hour, break muna. Because we know that however fearful the event is, or a tragedy is, the greatest fear is when we start asking questions and then we see behind the backhoe. Hindi lang ang pagpatay, kundi ang mga bagay na nasa likod, the things that led to this. So that's, you can't, so ano, parang even I have a hard time. No, I can't write that, but I think when things get to that level, you fall back on images, on expression. No?
Expression.
Hindi na
Yeah.
lot, expression. No? Impression, parang ganon. No? So yun.
So because of that, yes, of what happened talaga. Tama. Thank you for reminding. No? Kasi pag sinabing Ampatuan, the massacre itself, pero ang dami nga palang journalist na kasama. And because of, tama yan. Ang daming, kasi syempre, sa iba't ibang mga tao na andon, yung asawa, yung kapatid, di ba? So, but the journalists who were with the victims, madami talaga sila. And dahil sa marubdob na the feelings that at that time, of course, kapatid nyo to, no? Kasama nyo to sa field. It led you into writing this.
That poem. And a lot of journalists did. Sina Joel Salude did. My brother Nono Espina wrote a poem. Ang dami. Ang dami mga journalists who came and sat down to write about it. And yun na nga.
But after that, Ma'am Inday, after that, how was the feeling? Nung naisulat na siya, na-share nyo na siya, narinig nyo na rin yung mga poems.
Nakakagaan eh. It's that distillation that medyo kinuha. Hindi nawawala ang lungkot o galit, no? Pero yung bato ba na nandito sa lalamunan mo, parang hindi tinik eh, bato na nasa lalamunan mo, parang natunaw. And then you can start to breathe again and then start to finally analyze, no? But I think until we all sat down and somehow wrote it standing up eh, habang nagyoyosi ka na, nagsusulat sila. Yung mga nandun, may mga journalists na nandun eh. So yun, mga kuya ko, nandun sila kasi quick reaction sila agad dahil NUJP noon. So, pagkatapos niyan, we had to get it out of the system. And I think when the feelings are at their deepest, I think it's really poetry, or for some people, music. And I think poetry and music really go together. Yes. I think yun ang we fall back on art, no? When we can't seem to understand things, that's why art lives forever, eh? Because when it's hard to understand things, the artist, I'm no great artist, but art we can always fall back on art to explain the things that we don't understand.
Yes, even the abstract painting, no?
The abstract painting.
Even how abstract art could be still, no?
Mm-mm.
There could be the interpretations, no? Different interpretations of maybe the viewer, or even may different siya into the artist itself. Sabi nga ni Tita Vita sa Kumu, that is so true. What you said nga daw is so true. Na lahat nga tayo, no? Kapag parang pushed on the wall and that you cannot really, yung walang-wala ka nang maibigay. Sometimes, no, you would fall into not even creating an art, sometimes appreciating, listening to it, diba? Looking at it.
Like, I'm a voracious reader. I'm a bookworm, But when times really get tough, like during this pandemic, maybe because books seem a little too much like work, it's words. Yeah, that's what I fell back on music. When things are at their blackest, it is always music. I may be a journalist and I may work with words, but I always fall back on music pag ganyan na yung on art,
Art pa rin. Yes. Nasabi nga last week ni Sir Jimmy, parang yung buhay mo kung walang art, 'di ba? Parang
Oo.
wala walang kulay, walang and so and
Oo.
it's very, I don't know why I have this parang inner joy hearing this from you, na parang despite of things that, journalists do, 'di ba? Having the narratives, yung parang yung you seek for the truth and you report it fully, no? Kung ano yung nandun, yun yung, 'di ba? Yun yung isusulat mo, yun yung ire-report. Compared kasi sa poetry na sometimes mabulaklak yan, di ba? Sometimes sa poetry, to understand what the poet is trying to say is that really you have to go to his realm, parang ganun. Pero,
Oo.
di ba? Pero this, hearing it from you na even the hardest people who would look at things that most of the people don't want to see, but it's your job to do so. And parang, di ba? But still, you fall then into art, di ba? Somehow,
Mm.
you would parang find comfort, no? You will find comfort and you will find something that is, parang matatakbuhan mo rin just to have a
Oo.
break. Kagaya na sinabi niyo kanina. Just to have a break. Just to, just to breathe, di ba? For a while. And yun. And then that is that is really something na nakaka-inspire. Hi, KG! Hi, KG. So, nakaka-inspire kasi, parang na-affirm lang siya, Ma'am Inday. Nasabi ko to last week na, nung nag-pandemic talaga, maraming naging chef. Madaming mga, ang daming mga talaga natutong mag-bake and
Diba?
all.
Everything is art. Food, cooking,
Yes.
gardening. Everybody
Gardening.
turns to
Yeah.
art, you know?
Ang daming naging
Biglang
plantito.
nag-painting.
Yeah, plantito. Plantito. True, true.
Ang dami nag-take up ng painting. I mean, things we wouldn't do in our normal lives. When 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 things simply stop making sense, or during the times when we can't make any sense of events, we fall back on art to find our bearings again. So, ganun talaga siya.
Yes, yes. Oh, that is so, that is something na nakakatuwa na marinig coming from you. Bakit? Kasi, siya di ba, kagaya ng mga, alam natin, si Ma'am Inday, for those who know you, and for those who are not aware, no, si Ma'am Inday yung tipo na makikita mo siya sa mga news, head on. I mean, if you would just read yung mga posts niya sa Facebook, talagang walang paligid. This is it. Ito yon. And, which is sometimes, yun yung kaibahan ng art. Kaibahan ng poetry, to be specific. Kasi sa poetry, nako, hindi lang hitting around the bush, no? Talagang, minsan, ililigaw mo pa. Talagang, ilalayo mo pa. Imbes na, yung metaphor, instead, sometimes we will use metaphor, pero sometimes we will use really opposite things, no? Nagiging ironic pa minsan, just to convey the message. But, nevertheless, Ma'am Inday, alam ko may isa ka pang pyesa na sabi mo nga, nasulat mo.
Oo.
Tungkol naman sa
Well, parang hindi ko alam, triptych to. Medyo, hindi siya mahaba, pero tatlo siyang medyo maiksing pyesa. Ito naman yung Lumad Children, no? Ako yung hindi naman ang isa sa mga nung nag-break nung tinatawag natin yung Lianga Massacre sa Surigao del Sur, kung saan pinatay ang Lumad leaders sa harap ng mga bata at estudyante. Nakatingin, no? Ang isa doon, ama niya yung pinatay. Itong mga anak na to, itong mga bata na to ay mga estudyante ng Alcader. Ginising sa hating gabi ng paramilitary. Minarcha ng nakatutok ang mga baril sa likod nila patungo sa ilang kilometro sa village center. Iniwan ang head teacher nila, si Tay Amok. Nung dumating sila sa village center, kinuha yung dalawang leader, pinatay sa harap ng mga bata. Kumbaga, minarcha sila doon para pakita sa kanila na itong pwedeng gawin sa inyo. Pagbalik nila, pagkatapos pinabalik sila ng mga paramilitary, pagbalik nila sa eskwela nila, nakita nila yung head teacher nila, pinakamahal nilang head teacher, na kinatay na parang baboy, iniwan sa eskwela nila. No? Um, susunod yun, sunod-sunod. So I've covered the Lumad, and they mean a lot to me because they're indigenous people, our first peoples, no? And they fight because their ancestral lands are being taken away from them. Sandali. I'll have to, ano,
We can't hear you. Nawala ang boses mo, Ma'am Inday.
nawala boses ka?
Ayan, ayan. Now it's back.
Ha?
Yeah, now it's back. It's okay now.
Okay, sige, sige. Sandali, baka mawalan tayo ng ano. Okay, so, nung, ang, ano na yun din, again, because I was horrified, I could not believe, I could not fathom how things like this could happen. And probably that was the reason why I also started writing a few poems there.
Oh.
Dahil hindi ko nga, parang,
Hindi mo ma-wrap yung isip mo, no? Paano magagawa to sa harapan pa ng mga bata? You could just imagine.
hindi ako nakapaniwala, so sumulat na naman ako ng poetry. So should I read it?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so
Thank
children of the earth sing a dirge to dreams smashed, to lives lost, trampled beneath the idols of Mammon. Their voices rise, but choke as the fresh air of their veil turns acrid, black confetti swirl, falling on huddled youth. Cool waters from the gods' cavern deep in the mountains turn brown or red or gray with runoff from mines, and the birds fall silent, and the fish mourn as currents sweep away their newborn. The mangrove nurseries gone, whole mountains gone. Their eyes stare, they do not speak of any distant future because death comes in the here and now. So that was the first part of it. And the second part is more prose. The children knew the soldiers. Every day they passed by these uniformed men who would stop them and brandish guns and demand that they give up their rich earth for paltry gifts like alcohol and waste from the tables of their betters. The soldiers drilled as the children passed on that afternoon of August 31. The monsters cometh, said the troops. Hide, run away. And the monsters came that night, bleeding into the inky dark blackness, men with murder in their hearts. They banged on doors, they rammed their guns, they pushed children into hallways and dirt roads, marching, marching, crying, curses filling the air, marching, stumbling, walking, running to the village square, where more men in black and dark green stood with rifles aimed at two lean men, and the children wept, and their mothers begged, and babies screamed, and one silent One shout, followed by the burst of guns. Two men falling. A young girl screaming, silent, only the eyes showing the horror of one witnessing her father's death. Sorry, I didn't want to ruin anybody's. I told you I will not do poetry, and I told you right when I'm mad.
Grabe! I'm sorry to be emotional, pero yung into the words that you have. Oh my goodness! Hi everyone. It's really grabe, nakakadurog puso. It's prose. It's a narrative, but it's a prose, and it's a factual thing that really happened. And it was beautifully written. That while listening to you, nakaka parang yung kung if you wrote that, 'di ba sabi nga ni Ma'am Inday kanina guys, nakakapagsulat lang siya pag siya galit. Pero yung dating, this is the beauty of poetry, no? Pero nung binasa na niya, hindi lang basta hindi ang first feeling is not galit. I don't know with you guys, please write down kung ano man yung na-feel nyo when Ma'am Inday was uh, reading it. Pero ako yung initial feeling is yung pain. Diba? You just it was easy for me to imagine how it happened by your words that you have used, and then at the end no for a child to witness such, it's a narrative but still it's a prose, and it was beautifully written. It was parang nadala mo ako personally, nadala mo ako doon sa nangyari. I mean, nadala mo ako doon sa gabi na nangyari. And that is maybe um yung power of words, no? The power of how a journalist can combine the events that happened, the events that that you were able to gather, then still put it into something. May art siya, but still, this is the factual things that happen. And it will create, it is undeniable that it will create, or it will give yung iba't ibang, yung message of things, opening the eyes with this message that you can uh, really give to the people who can hear yung, yung mga ganong klase na piyesa. My goodness. Saglit, malabo na po yung mata ko. Wala akong mabasa.
Sana balang araw may makasulat ako ng mga inspirational. But let's talk about, di ba yung ang ganda-ganda dun sa inauguration ni Joe Biden?
Oh, yes, si Amanda.
Diba?
Yes,
God,
yes. Yung poetry ni
and,
Amanda.
and she didn't use big, strange words. Diba?
Yes, simple
used-
lang.
She took you. And yeah, this is how we feel. Very simple words. Ang ganda. It was about, it was real. It was beautiful.
It was
And she's a
actually,
beautiful woman.
yes, it was actually simple. The words are simple. Pero the message is heavy. Diba? Meron akong kinote, hindi ko na maalala ang kinote doon sa sinabi niya. But, yeah, Amanda is also, sabi ko nga, and when the world listened to a poet, and when the world listened to a poet, that.
But Maya Angelou, di ba?
Oh, yes, of
Diba?
course. The Maya
Ganon
Angelou.
din.
Yes. With the
She
voice pa of
writes about
Maya.
real things. Diba?
Yes, and Maya's voice pa is very, how do you call this? Yung very calm. Diba?
Mm.
Yes. Actually, Ma'am Inday, just to share with you, nagkaroon kami ng competition dito sa YMOP. And one of the winners, one of the top 3 winners, hindi siya yung kung mag-deliver marubdob. Hindi yan. Ang lumanay. And there were 5 judges. So, kumbaga, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, pare-pareho yung type ng judges sa pagde-deliver. But, yung isa sa nanalo is, ganun, ang calm niyang mag-deliver. But sometimes, diba, kagaya ng the way that you read also, siguro, kaya iba din yung dating. Kasi, ang calm, the way you read it. Pero, mas malalim yung tusok. O mas malalim, no? It's deeper because you really have to parang ma-absorb, yung parang ma-chew yung words that you deliver. And ayun, ang dami nagre-react, sabi nga si Carl, hello Carl, yan, Rodel, ayan. So, nag-agree sila dun sa sinabi natin, dun sa yung minsan yung calmness of the poet pag deliver yung pyesa. And ito na nga yun, no? Sabi nga ni Ma'am Inday, dalawa lang yung pyesa niya. Pareho yun, nagawa niya.
Hindi, yung iba parang hindi pwede for polite company. Hindi ko makita eh. I do have a few. They're a little bit more fun. So, ikwento ko na lang, but I can't quite see it right
Yung
now.
isa, no? Yung kinikwento mong isa.
Oo. So, hindi ako, I'm not a trained poet. I didn't take up any literary courses. On a wing and a prayer kind of poet when I do. And the strangest things make me write, parang, so, several, maybe 10 years ago, I was in Melaka. That was mayroong conference sa Kuala Lumpur, and I decided, after that, nag-leave ako na ng work konti to travel around. So I went to Melaka, and I met new friends, and all that. And they invited me to a small blues jam in a little guest house there. And I love music. So, hindi ko, and then suddenly there's this one guy who played. And medyo duling siya eh. Ganon, no? Hindi siya gwapo, hindi siya, wala. I mean, if you pass him on the street, okay, hello, wala, you wouldn't find him. But then he took up his guitar and then he played. And I was like, drop jaw. And pag-uwi ko, and it's again, it's a very short poem. It's 8 lines, but
Yes.
it's called Magic Hands, and it's a little sexy. And sana lumabas siya dito bandang
Yes.
huli. Pero
And while you're looking for it, my eldest sister, Mirna Tolentino, nag-comment siya. Sabi niya for you, Ma'am Inday. Sabi niya, Ma'am Inday, your poem is much more than a mere news that can be published in a newspaper. It tells everything, the facts, the emotion of the children, the wounds it created in the soul of the children and their family. Your poem and its recitation led me into the scene. Thanks a lot for sharing your poem. God bless and keep it up. You're an inspiration.
maraming
That's my
salamat.
sister. That's my eldest sister. She's watching right now. Shout out naman sa mga nasa Pilipinas dyan.
I'll introduce you a lot of, by the way, marami sila na I know of at least 5 journalists who actually write. And some of them are also really good at reading their poetry. So I'll patch you up. Hindi pa nga kita na-patch. So that
Yes.
meron
That
kang sunod-sunod ng ilang buwan, no?
Oh my
Including some, of
gosh!
course, the more literary ones talaga.
Yes.
Hindi,
That would be great. That would be great. I mean, this is one thing that is really the beauty of poetry, the beauty of art in general. No? It could really, sabi ko nga, naniniwala ako na kahit na sabihin mo hindi ka marunong kumanta o hindi ka marunong sumayaw o hindi ka marunong o ayaw mo o hindi mo prefer magsulat ng poetry, but still meron diyan sa kalooban ng bawat isa. Meron at meron diyan. Ito yung
Meron
question
yan.
ko. Sabi ko nga may tanong ako sa iyo. Ay, nakita mo na, ma'am?
Hindi sila. Pero ito, marami nagtatanong paano gumawa. Alam mo, ganito lang eh. Kahit sino, practice lang yan eh. Maging totoo. Yun ang pinakauna. Maging totoo kayo sa sarili nyo. No? Huwag kayong matakot ilabas ang saloobin nyo. To do art, you have to open yourself
Mhm.
to some risks. Yun ang una eh. Kailangan willing kayo maging vulnerable. Marami sa atin ayaw natin ilabas eh. Like, journalist kami. Hindi kami tapang namin eh.
Yeah,
Hindi kami takot eh.
matigas to,
It
uy.
takes
Yes.
a lot to admit that there are times na nanginginig ka. No? So, ganun din. Kahit sino. Be open to being vulnerable. Hublas ang sarili. No? And and tell a story. Everything, art is all about stories, and stories are all about people. And who can better tell your story than yourself?
That's
So okay lang kung hugot, kung pag-ibig yan, di pag-ibig, no? Kung iniwan ka ng tatay mo ng bata ka, at hanggang ngayon pa lang ikaw coming to terms with the fact that you grew up you grew up longing for a father who wasn't there, then write about it, because one day it can help, not just it can help you understand yourself. Ako, ano yan eh. Yung galit ka sa sarili mo, maybe writing that poem will help
yeah.
you forgive yourself.
Yeah.
So, ganun lang, sulat lang ng sulat. And then put it away. It doesn't need to be perfect. You can come back 6 months after and read it, and sometimes 5 years after, and find, nag-iba ba ang pananaw mo in 5 years?
True.
Can you rewrite it? Parang buhay lang yan. No? That's actually what art is all about.
Yes, yes.
It's your own expression of your impression of life.
Parang sa sinabi mo ba, Ma'am Inday, can we say this, na parang, being a journalist, sometimes talaga, kahit nga sabi mo, kahit nangangatal ka na, kahit na, alam mo yon, alam mong takot ka, but still, you really have to, brave the storm. You have to go champion the situation, You have to report this, you have to, to, inform the people that these are really the things that are happening. Pero, pagdating na doon sa meron kang isang aspekto ng buhay mo na tatakbuhan mo, which is art, ibig sabihin, mas dun ka nagiging in touch sa totoong feelings mo, na hindi ka na dapat matakot ipakita ano yung totoong nararamdaman mo. In arts, you cannot, you won't be afraid to show. If you're really afraid, then be afraid. Is that what you're
Yeah.
trying to tell? And with that, Mamanday, with that, meron akong tanong sa'yo, at tanong ko dito sa lahat ng naandyan sa Kumu at sa Facebook. Pero, I would like to, if you would give a title for a poem of your life, what would be the title?
A poem about my life?
Yes.
Well, okay. um, Joel Salud, my friend, knows this. Probably, I'm one of those journalists na pinupukpok ng ilang dekada na, hoy, nasa na yung libro mo, no? Ako yung laging, tsaka na. But I am finalizing at this point. But and it's journalism, but it's also a more personal form of journalism that I'm coming out with, including some of the poems. And the title is Grace Notes. So it's music. Again, no, it's not about music, but like notes. No,
Yes.
it's Grace Notes. It's the little things that, di ba, my headline, my big
Mhm.
story, the facts.
Mhm.
But they're the little things that you probably won't put into a new story, but will catch your imagination and will sink into your mind. And that when you come out later, after the new stories are done, there is something that remains. Minsan throwaway fact siya na hindi mo na ginamit, but it is that you latch onto para maghanap ng deeper meaning into things. And those are also the little yung grace notes sa music, yung maliit na
Yes,
mga
yes,
notes na gano'n,
yes.
that that make you be able to connect the different things that happen in life, and give you meaning, and allow you um to maintain your rhythm and your balance, no, and to be able to create more for the world, and yun ang, that will be the title. So it's called
Nice.
Grace Notes, and it's all about this. It's all about, hindi ito yung big, these are stories about not the big key actors in the political scene, but um ordinary people whose lives, whose words somehow allow me to get a different perspective of things, when I'm too much of in a danger of falling into trite, and um, when I'm beginning to get too predictable.
Mhm.
I think about the things I heard from people, the people I meet, and that allows me to change course.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's ano, no? That's like, I mean, I like the way that you explain it. Kasi parang pag Grace Notes, parang talaga may question. What's the title about? Di ba parang, and so if sa title pala, curious ka na, the more so dun sa laman ng libro, that is something, worth waiting, ha, Maminday? We will
Sana,
wait for
sana.
that. We will wait for that book. I mean, ako, yun din yung challenge ko, no, for those who are watching us right now. If you would be, to write a poem of your life, what would be the title? Kasi sometimes, merong mga poetries na nauuna yung poem muna bago mo malagay yung title. Meron naman, title muna, and from there, dun ka mag-create ng poem. No? But kaya ako siya naitanong kasi 'di ba minsan sa buhay natin, kagaya ng sinabi mo, Ma'am Inday, na sometimes in grace notes ng buhay mo, yung mga tao na hindi sila yung talagang mga nasa headline o mga kilalang politiko. Pero these small people na sometimes maybe could be unnamed, maybe people that, yung nakausap mo lang randomly, but would sometimes sabi mo nga mag-change, no, ng course ng mga decisions mo. And I think that is a very good message, no? Parang, oo nga, no? Sometimes yung mga tao na hindi natin napapansin, pero nakakausap natin, and they're the ones who are feeding us, things that would make us ponder, no? Minsan nga nalilimutan natin sino yung mga taong yun. But these are the people that we usually talk with. Dito sa Kumu kasi, Mami Day, dito sa Kumu, kung saan ako nag-start itong YMOP, every day, pag mag-online ka and pupunta ka doon, randomly, iba't ibang klaseng tao makakausap mo. Iba't ibang, and minsan doon matetest no? Yung prinsipyo mo sa buhay din, di ba? Kung alam mo yun, kung saan madali ka ba masway, o may paninindigan ka bang mga bagay, di ba? And then that is, the power of communication, the power of sometimes, and even yung kakayahan ding makinig, di ba? And that is one thing na I think common din sa mga sa poetry and sa journalism. Kailangan mong makinig. Sometimes not only with your ears, no? But you have to listen also through your heart. Kung ano talaga yung ano ang mensahe na ibinibigay mo. Pero kung tatanungin ka, Ma'am Inday, ng tawag dito, kung may ide-deliver ka, for example, na news, and paano mo, kagaya nun, nakakapagsulat ka ng poetry out of, pag yung marubdob na nararamdaman. Pero paano ka nakakapag-deliver ng news na isinaset aside mo rin ba yung feelings na parang hindi, ito yung kailangan, factual lang siya, walang feelings muna. Or nandun pa rin siya, kaakibat pa rin siya, kahalo pa rin siya.
Um, um, pag may nagsabi sa yung journalist na wala siyang feelings at all, matakot ka sa journalist na yan. Dahil pag ang journalist walang feelings, bakit siya nagsusulat, di ba? Um, nakakatakot ang tao na walang feelings. Ganun. Nakikita mo na yung, sige nga, itong pandemya na to, no? Nakita natin yung isang mentally challenged fish vendor dito sa Quezon City na hinuhugot ng mga malalaking tao, binubugbog na parang ganon. Hindi, hindi kami, as a journalist, hindi kami pwedeng mag-report na nagsisigaw, no? Hindi. Pero, it is feelings, it is anger, for example, over injustice that allows you to follow a story, no? Um, hindi gusto sabihin, hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng news report na nagsasabi kang um, mga hindi ka pwede magmura, no, sa mga taong nang-aabuso ng ibang tao sa yung news report. But you can use that feeling of anger to describe the scene in a way that make people see it. Your anger over injustice can make you hone your talent better so that your camera captures better the horror that you see. No? So, yun ang feelings. Kapag nagre-recite lang ng datos na walang feelings ang isang journalist, hindi siya journalist. Kasi ang journalist ay hindi recorder. Hindi tayo he said, she said. No? Ang journalist, ang trabaho namin ay gamitin kung anong nakikita ang mata namin, ang tenga namin, ang utak namin, no, para gumawa ng kwento na makatotohanan. Pero nandyan ang konteksto na tinatawag, no? Nandyan ang pagpapaunawa sa mga tao kung bakit nangyayari ito. Kasi 'di ba hindi lang who, what, where eh. Ang sa journalism, napakahalaga. Sabihin mo how.
Yeah.
How did things happen?
And
even more important, why do these terrible things happen? That's what the journalist does. No? And why? Di ba lahat tayo naging bata? Why is the favorite question of children when they have not yet been told by the world na wag na kayo magtanong, tumahimik na lang kayo. When you are a child and you are free, you ask how and you ask why.
Why?
Then somewhere along the way, the powerful tell us, stop asking questions. A journalist's job is to help others who may be scared to answer these questions get the answers. But an artist's goal is to free others so that they may start asking those questions.
So beautifully said. That is so beautifully said. That's why ito challenge sa mga makata dyan at mga manunulat, di ba? We have, this freedom talaga to write. We have this freedom to express. And yung sinabi nga ni Ma'am Inday na parang it's very, parang it's more of a challenge. Actually, kanina ka pa maraming sinasabi, Ma'am Inday, na parang nakaka-challenge, Kasi, dun mo pinakita yung not only poetry itself, but yung bigger picture, the art, yung how art can really help a person be human to its real sense of it. Free, with feelings, whether you're afraid or not, but as long as you can express your feelings and you can really relay the message that is needed so that people, could, kagaya nun, could ask why. Kasi sometimes talaga, reality lang, real talk na kalimitan talaga, not only children are sometimes being asked to be quiet. Most of the time, people who have, who are really having their voice, bago pa lumakas yung boses, madami ang mas mas bigger people would tell you, shh, shut up, something like that. And then the artist in us would would fuel the courage to, no, continue asking, continue writing, continue singing, continue putting this into something that other people would understand well, so that the message would be clear, something like that. And you see, parang ito yun no, Maminday, parang poetry and journalism. Well, in fact, hindi lang music and poetry ang intertwined eh. Even poetry and journalism are closely connected eh. Diba? They're, parang hindi, that, before, to be honest, before ng stream na to, ano siya sa akin? Different worlds, to tell you frankly. Parang hindi ko siya, kasi talagang malaki ang paghanga ko sa mga journalist. Dahil, alam mo yun, yung sinusuong nyo kahit gera. Diba, sinusuong nyo kahit life would be in danger, still you are there, no? And for me parang iba yung level ng tapang. Pero ngayon it is parang I can't put it into words, pero I don't know if it's yung inner joy to know that journalist as tough as, it's still fine.
Um,
Fine.
ako po I don't know if there are any students out there, or if you're really interested in finding a journalist who, even when she's doing journalism, um, writes in such a way that her her there's so much music and poetry in her work, even when she's writing about EJKs, and that would be Pat Evangelista of Rappler, hanapin nyo lang Pat Evangelista's long work.
Mhm.
They're a symphony, when she makes when she describes something, she doesn't say get angry, but she writes scenes that will make you feel, whether it's anger or joy or pain or fear, um if I will always say that. And if you're a student of writing, um go to go check out Pat Evangelista's work, and you will see there that what in the end you will have very a grasp of her ideas, but siya narrative. It's almost like stepping into a movie, but except this one is all real life. So that's the stuff of great novelists rin eh. I would say she has great literary style, except that she writes journalism.
But that is something to look for, watch for, Pat Evangelista. Grabe, Ma'am Inday. I mean, this Saturday is, uh, on a good way, guys, on a good way. Pero this afternoon, pinaglaruan ni Ma'am Inday ang feelings ko.
Sorry.
In a good way, Kasi alam mo yung, first emotions, first feeling ko nung umuo kayo sa akin is parang, oh my gosh, napasubo yata ako. Si Ma'am Inday Espina Varona umuo sa invitation ko. Parang na starstruck ako nung una. First feeling. Second feeling ko, natakot ako, to be honest, Ma'am Inday. Natakot ako na, oh my gosh, seryoso ba ako sa ginawa ko? And then, the third is parang, na-challenge ako. Na-challenge ako kasi poetry with other things, especially music, will always be, would go together hand in hand easily. Kahit nakapikit ka, madali siyang imagine. Pero poetry to journalism, nung una talaga, I was challenged to find the connection. Parang, is it, and you are the best source of it. I mean, for me, at this really the time, everything happened for a reason, and I believe na talagang alam kong, you will give justice to the connection of poetry and journalism. And it's true, hindi nagkamali, hindi nagkamali. And yun nga, the joy, nung nako-connect mo na siya while we were talking, ang saya ng feeling ko na, oo, di ba, tama may connection pa rin yan. And then, nung may dineliver ka, na nagpadurog naman ng puso ko, in, in, in that moment, parang, ano, how do you call this? Na, ano, na nabulabog yung kalooban ko. And parang the more, with that kind of poetry, actually, Ma'am Inday, madami ding mga kabataan na dumadaan sa stream ko na nakakatuwa. Natutuwa ako sa kanila kapag yung ang poetry nila is about, waking up the people, waking up the government. Parang natutuwa ako kasi mga early 20s, late teens, and they could express it. I mean, without judgment ng choice of words nila to whatever words ang kanilang ginagamit. And I'm glad that, they're able to express it. And so, but nevertheless, even yung sa ganong klase ng emotions na talagang parang nag-roller coaster po ako ngayong hapon na to with you. But still, I'm so happy na talaga ang ganda nung ang dami niyong binigay na tips, ang dami niyong binigay na advices even if before we ask for it. Kagaya, but my favorite is, uh, yung when times are really, when you need a breather, when you need, just to pause, go to art. I mean, it will give you something, something fresh and something good. And that is something na, parang, yung astig pala na hinahangaan ko, music lover din pala. Di ba? Parang, yung astig na hinahangaan ko, nakapag-compose din pala ng tula. Something like that. And that is something so refreshing to know. Hi, Ninang Amanda. Hello, yan. Sabi nila sa Kumu, ang dami na bumabati pala. Sorry, hindi ko nababasa. Na ko sa kwentuhan namin ni, ni Ma'am Inday. Hello sa nasa Kumu. Hello there, ayan. And hello there on sa Facebook din. So, Ma'am Inday, before we end the stream, if you will be, sa dami ng sinabi mo, sa dami ng advice mo, pero, what would be your message, maybe, not only being a journalist or a journalist who loves music, but, ano yung ano yung i-advise mo to with our new norm that is happening, that we are embracing actually? What can you tell those who are watching right now, both on Kumandot?
Um, it's been a very hard year for everyone. No? Our lives have been interrupted, or our physical lives have been interrupted, and until things get better, ganun talaga. No, yun. That's not to say that we should be defeatist, but there are things that we cannot change even as we push to make things better faster. No? But I think more than all, sa likod and above all the craziness of the past year, I think when when our physical selves are constrained by events beyond our control, I think we can fall back on our minds and our hearts and the bridge that technology now affords us to reach out, to maintain these links, and to expand these links. And actually, in this pandemic, I've strangely made friends with other people I probably would have not had the time with. I mean, people who suddenly become gardeners or chefs or painters or musicians. Um, in our normal lives, we would have been too busy with our normal things. But because we were forced to fall back and to dig deep and find and grab at whatever could give meaning and sense to a crazy world, um, we let our minds free, we let our hearts fly, and we made new friends, kept ourselves sane, and probably will emerge better, wiser when times get better. So, palipa rin ang utak, ang diwa,
Yes.
buksan ang puso. Hindi man tayo makalakad sa daan, magkalipad ngayon sa eroplano, um, nabubuhay tayo sa panahon na may teknolohiya na maaring makakatulong sa atin na mag um, mag magkaisa, no, sa iba't ibang mga tao sa samang panig ng mundo. Gamitin natin yan.
Well said, and I can't agree more. Yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina, salamat sa teknolohiya. Kasi siguro kung sa normal life, Ma'am Inday, maybe hindi tayo nagkakilala, hindi ako nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob, kausapin ka. Salamat din sa teknolohiya. Nothing happens by chance. I mean, really, things happen by with reason. And tama yun, i-maximize natin no, ang use ng teknolohiya para ma-reach pa rin ang mga tao na ma-reach natin and to convey messages that, that is very essential into, living even in our own different places all over the world. Mami, you're such an inspiration. I mean, talaga, I feel so blessed. I'm thankful na pinuunlakan niyo ako, pinuunlakan niyo kami sa gabi na 'to. And, we would be, of course, waiting for that book, Grace Notes. Tatandaan ko yan, naka-note po sa'kin. And hopefully, we would, hear from you more sa Facebook. Guys, please do follow. Tanya, uh, dahil sa aking how do you call this, ka-fangirl, aminin ko na, nalimutan ko na pong i-post yung banner. Please follow me on Kumu, Mommy, and on Facebook and IG. And we will be having, different kinds of discussions every Saturday and Sunday during Bookify. Ma'am Inday, maraming salamat po talaga
Maraming
sa
salamat for inviting me. I really
yes,
enjoyed it.
maraming salamat. Stay safe. God bless you, Ma'am Inday. And
You too.
yes, so guys, maraming salamat. They're on Kumu who, kept us company. Facebook people, friends and family who kept us company. Please do follow Ma'am Inday din. Meron din siya, madami siyang um, nakakatuwa. Yung sa Facebook niya, you follow her and ako updated actually through your Facebook posts. And then the ideas also and the things to ponder. The things to ponder. May mga funny posts din si Ma'am Inday na minsan napapangiti ako mag-isa pag nababasa ko. And with that, Ma'am Inday, thank you very much.
Thank
We've
you.
proven really so many things. Poetry and journalism, are also sisters.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you,
And
Ma'am
stay
Inday.
sane.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. God bless everyone. Bye, everyone. We'll be ending this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I love you all. Bye. God bless.